So the Azure Advisor is another core tool that we have. And basically what this is for is a way for us to look at the best practices on how Azure should be configured. So, I mean, we can normally use Azure out of the box. We can create some virtual machines and do whatever, but that doesn't always work in the most optimized fashion. So the analyzer, the advisor, will take a look at our deployed resources, and it will have recommendations based on best practices so that we can optimize the deployments. So it will look at things like reliability. Do we have high availability and enabled, and do we need it? What type of systems are we running, and how much resources do we have against them, and those sorts of things. It'll tell us information about security. It'll look at, are there any security risks? Are there anything that we need to remediate? And it'll give us suggestions on how to make those things better. Is the performance okay? I mean, are we underperforming? The system's underperforming based on what the requirements are, or are they running okay? What's the cost look like, right? We can see what our costs are, and then we can say, oh, well, if we do this, this will have less of an impact, and we won't use as much resources. Oh, let's take a look at changing those things. And then operational excellence. How well is the system running? Am I having high usability, high availability, or am I, constantly having a system that's crashed and so forth? The Azure Monitor is another core tool that allows us to take a look at all of the application insights. So we can see how an application is running. We can see how a service is running. We can see whether or not it's going to be working properly and it's highly available. And this is done by collecting and analyzing a lot of sorts of information on telemetry from the cloud, as well as on-premise environments that we've got set up. And the number of tools that are available for us to do this include the application insights. And this is basically a tool that runs in the cloud that will look at our application from an internal point of view, see how it's functioning, see how it's utilizing resources, and potentially make recommendations on how to make it run more efficiently. There's also log analytics, so we can look at all the log files and look for errors that may occur in the event logs in the systems. There are smart alerts, so when certain activities occur, we can have those alerts automatically be delivered to administrators. We can also do automated actions. So if an alert is generated, an action can automatically go out and execute. So as an example, let's say that the transaction log on a database is getting full or is full, and so therefore the database is shut off. And so because the alert has said, oh, the transaction log is full on the SQL Server, I could have an automated action that would go out and do a backup of the database so that it would truncate the transaction log, and it would be able to continue producing transactions. Or another one I could say is I'm running out of drive space, so you set up an alert to say when I'm down to less than 5% of free disk space on a drive, notify the administrator so they can add more space to a system. So those are the types of smart alerts and automatic actions we can use, as well as customized dashboards. So there's a number of different dashboards that we can implement that will allow us to display all sorts of different information through the Azure monitoring tool to kind of give us an insight as to how the system is functioning. And generally what would happen with those is that in an organization that has a large data center, you would put large screen televisions around the room, and you would display those dashboards onto those large screen TVs so that at a glance, you can see how your systems are functioning and whether or not Azure is having any issues, actually do anything in the system. And lastly, the last slide for the presentation is for the other core tool, which is the Azure Resource Manager templates, or ARM templates. ARM, or Azure Resource Manager, allows you to repeatedly deploy an application or have confidence that your resources are deployed in a consistent state and they're always deployed the same way. You will define the infrastructure and all the dependencies for the app using a single declarative template. So you build a template out, and every time you deploy something, it will automatically be exactly the same. The templates are based on the JavaScript object notation or JSON file format, and they use a standard structure. It's not a programming language, but it uses declarative syntax so that you can actually say that I've got an item and a resource associated to it. It can produce repeatable results. So every time it executes, it will repeat itself over and over and over. So it's exactly the same every time. You can use orchestration so that it can use a sort of a workflow to execute an installation. So there may be different steps. And so the orchestration will make sure that each of those steps are executed correctly. You can create it as a modular install. So instead of creating one big installer file, you can create several smaller installer files and then using the orchestration feature, execute each one of those modular files in the correct order so that they will deploy properly. You can also do built-in code validations so that you can validate that the devices or the applications are employed exactly the same every time by validation. And you can export any error messages and other types of code as well so that you can track it, you can do troubleshooting on it, you can do error testing and all those sorts of things against the data as well. So once you get into creating systems and applications in your Azure tenant, you'll want to turn them into resource manager templates so that if you do need to use them over and over and over again, you always get exactly the same deployment every single time. And this is really handy, especially when you're doing testing systems for application, testing and bug fixes and stuff like that, that as you need to create them and then destroy them, you're always going to get the same result set every single time in terms of the physical machine or the virtual machine that your testing processes are running against. And that is it for the presentation. Thank you very much.
This is very true. Cloud is accelerating the skills gap. Every day, Microsoft adds new features in Azure, right? What we're going to see in the next few months may be different with all the advancements that Microsoft is adding. In fact, this is actually an old slide, but this is very true. And the more advancements are added, the more the gap is widening. So it's very important that we are paying attention and getting the right education for us, whether we're individual, starting on a role in cloud, or you have employees that needs to do this. Also, what are the benefits? So for an employee, stand out, right? Get recognized. That this is one validation because we have a tangible number associated with it. And as they say, if you're certified, you earn more. And it also advances your career, whether you're currently in the market for a new job or you want to get better at your current job. Definitely certification would help. And for the companies, this is something that most C levels appreciate, that it can help them with talent identification. Nowadays, the way we're being, the hiring uh, is being done, it puts a great deal in the certification of the candidate. Also, for current teams that have certified members, they can see that the team produces 20% more. And to the business, it has this huge impact that if you have a huge percentage of certified candidates, then your team gives a better overall impact. Okay. Now, what makes Microsoft certifications valuable? First and foremost, in terms of market share, as we all know, Microsoft is that dominant technology in the market. There are others, but Microsoft has grown its base and it is a market share leader. Um, it is first and foremost, the certification is aligned to relevant job roles. So as you saw earlier, we have certifications for cloud administrators, for cloud developers. It demonstrates that you know how to apply your skills in the real world, and it is a verified achievement. So you can't just say that, hey, I took the training, but you can say that I really know this, I have the skills because I am certified. Now, aside from that, as I said earlier, it is aligned to market opportunity. What is the market looking for? So whatever Microsoft has, definitely they have the certification to match it. And these are very critical skills to make your digital transformation successful. And Microsoft continues to update this. And we can have a whole lot of discussion, discussing about how easy it would be to maintain your certification. And also, Microsoft puts a great deal that all the Microsoft certified professional renews their certification every year just by upskilling themselves. There are more information on Microsoft Learn, and we can definitely explain that to you as well. Just contact us back. And just looking into the kind of questions you're getting from the exam, these are skill-based questions. Gone are the days when you're going through multiple questions and you can guess it. Nope, can't do that anymore. Also, it requires experience, and you know how to apply those skills. And hands-on labs are also included in the exam. It's we don't want to scare you that it's difficult, but it really demonstrates that you have the skills if you pass the exam. You can also shout out to the world your recognition. You can add it in your LinkedIn profile. And this actually also solidifies your role in your current employment, or if you're looking for work, then this really helps you to land that job that you want. Okay, so just a few more stats here. 91% of certified IT pros says certification gives them the credibility. 93% of decision makers agree that this has a lot of added value, and 52% says that this expertise is more sought after within their organization. This is just an example. Since we discussed since we discussed an intro to AZ 900, these are the kinds of skills that are measured. And I'd like to just go quickly to our website. This is our website. You can just go to Microsoft to check out other resources that we have here, such as the role-based certification path. This gives you an idea on what are the different certification and training, and these are all links to the actual courses, so you can read the outline. Another thing is, if you are you're representing a company, there are several ways to purchase training. We have our NetCom Unlimited, which provides you with 12 months unlimited access to more than 500 virtual instructor-led training. Or you have our Learning Passport. Or you can just go to our schedules. If you're one person and you want an open enrollment, you just can, look for the different schedules that we have available for you.